It is not easy making friends in your 20s. I feel like in our 20s, we slowly start to outgrow our high school friends, but at the same time, we're so busy building up our own lives, focusing on our careers, focusing on our relationships, just really focusing on ourselves. And it's difficult to think about balancing friendships on top of that. It takes so much effort to make new friends. It takes so much effort to maintain friendships. But at the same time, can I just say that meeting my friends and creating a solid group of high value female friendships has completely changed my life. You really do become who you surround yourself with. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking all about surrounding yourself with high value women and creating strong female friendships. And with that being said, welcome back to episode 3 of Becoming a High Value Woman. Today's episode is all about friendships, attracting high quality friendships, female friendships, being a good friend yourself. We are talking about it all in today's video. By the way, if you're liking this series, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss the next video. And if you didn't watch episode 1 and 2, they will be linked in the description box. All right, let's get into today's video. And before we get into it, I just want to reiterate what actually is a high value woman, because being a high value woman has nothing to do with the value somebody else places on you. It's about the value that you place on yourself. It's about having high standards for yourself, for your life, for the people that enter your life, having boundaries, and really going after what you desire in your life and knowing that you are worthy of achieving what you want in life. Episode 1, we talked all about confidence. Episode 2, we talked about dating. And today we are talking about friendships. We are talking about who you choose to surround yourself with, because I don't think we realize how truly important that is. Your environment is everything, not just your physical environment, but also the people that you are choosing to surround yourself with, the energy that you're choosing to be a part of. It really does influence so much of your life. It influences the way you think about yourself, the way you think about others, the way you think about your life. It is very difficult to uphold high standards for your life when you are surrounding yourself with people who don't have high standards for their life. And it's not impossible, of course. You can still maintain your own standards and values and beliefs, but it really becomes difficult too. If your environment is constantly reminding you of who you used to be, what you used to believe in, or a version of yourself that you no longer want to be, it's like a constant battle every single day. And when I went on a journey of healing myself, that was the first thing that I looked at, was my environment, my physical environment, but also my friends, the people that I chose to surround myself with. And this meant being alone for a while. This meant me choosing to be in my own energy instead of being around people that I no longer aligned with, because I knew that the people that I aligned with were out there, and that's what I was waiting for. That's what I was raising my standards and my values to then match those people and attract them into my life. So with that being said, I just want to iterate how truly invaluable it is to have high value, high quality, and strong female friendships in your life. If you're an independent person, it's easy to believe that you can do everything yourself. But when you have women supporting you, loving you, accepting you, you are able to get so much further in life. I think a big downfall in our society as of recently is we lack community. There's so much individualism in society that we forget the power of community. We forget the power of having a village. And we think that we can be so independent and do things on our own. And it's like we've lost the sense of community. But we are not meant to do everything on our own. I think it's so beautiful when women can come together to support one another, to hold space for one another. Ever since moving to San Diego, I've gone to so many women's circles, and I've surrounded myself with like-minded women that hold space for each other, that accept each other, that allow each other to see themselves in higher visions or higher light. It is truly such a blessing to have these strong female friendships in your life. And later on, I'll tell you guys about my friends, how we met, and how we've really cultivated such a strong friendship with one another. But what I do want to say is that it is such a blessing to have these women in my life, to have other women see you and support you and love you and accept you. I have learned so many invaluable lessons from these women, from having them in my life. It's even helped me in my own relationship. I know how to communicate my needs. I know how to communicate my boundaries. I know how to be there for somebody. I know what it feels like to be loved and to love because of these women in my life. It's because of them that I have such high standards for my life, for my relationships, for my career, for everything. I literally know that I cannot fail in this life when I have these women behind me. Now let's get into the second point. So what actually makes a good friend? So I wrote down a list of a couple questions you can ask yourself to know if somebody is truly a good friend or not. So you want to ask yourself, how do you feel when you're around them, and how do you feel when you leave them? When you're around them, do you feel supported? Do you feel loved? Do you feel accepted? Do you feel inspired and nourished? Or do you feel drained? Do you feel low energy when you're around them? Do you feel like hopeless? Like, do you feel more positive feelings as a result of being with your friends, or do you feel more negative feelings as a result of them? And then also, how do you feel when you leave them, when you go home? Do you feel more doubtful towards yourself? Do you feel insecure? Or do you feel like a bad bitch? Are you like, hell yes, I can do this? And also, do you feel supported by them and loved and accepted? Do you feel like there's a mutual sense of respect and effort? I think that's a huge standard for me when it comes to friendships, is a mutual level of effort. That's a big standard of mine, is having a mutual level of effort. You know, I don't want to be in a friendship that's too one-sided. It's just me, you know, making all the effort, me listening to them, me supporting them, but them not even caring about me and my life. And I definitely had friends like that as well, where they would kind of treat me like I was their therapist. Like, they would just call me and like vent to me and constantly just dump all their problems on me, but they would never actually ask how I'm doing, what's going on in my life, or if they did, it was very like nonchalant. Like, they didn't actually care. They were just like asking just to be nice, or to make it seem like they weren't taking so much from me, but they didn't actually genuinely care. And those kind of friendships are exhausting. Another big thing is, do you share the same values and morals in life and the same standards? It doesn't mean that you want the same things out of your life, but more so, do you have similar morals and values? I think this is a really big thing for me, because I was raised with a certain set of morals and values. You know, respect one another, don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie. So it is really important for me to surround myself with people who are good people. You know, they're kind, they're respectful, they do good in this world, they treat people respectfully. And I have found that in the past, whenever I would start to notice that a friend and I didn't share the same morals and values, it became very difficult for me to continue to be friends with them, because it felt like I was going against my morals and values by even associating with them. And that's not me coming from like a high horse thinking that I'm so much better than, you know, them because we don't share the same morals and values. It's just simply me knowing that I have the right to choose who I surround myself with and who I share energy with. And if somebody chooses to live their life a certain way, that's fine. It has nothing to do with me. It's just I don't want to surround myself with that energy. Another thing too is asking yourself, can you genuinely trust this person? And can you confidently say that this person has your back and they have your best interests at heart? I want to feel like my friends would stand up for me in a room full of people talking about me and I'm not there. If I feel like somebody would also say negative things about me to a room full of people who don't know me, that's not my kind of person. That's not my kind of person. I want to be able to trust my friends and know that they're speaking highly of me. Okay, the next point I want to make is that it's okay to let go of certain friendships. So like I said in the intro of the video, we start to outgrow our high school friendships in our 20s typically. I mean, definitely not all the time. One of my best friends, we've literally known each other since middle school and we are ride or dies always. But a majority of the friends that I had in high school, I'm just not friends with them anymore, and that's okay. And I think the thing is that we grow up with these people, but in our 20s, we start to realize that we no longer align with them. You know, maybe we don't share the same standards or values or beliefs, like I said before. And I think the biggest realization I made in my early 20s is that I don't need to be friends with somebody just because I've literally known them my entire life, or just because I've known them for years and years. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's bad blood or that I don't wish well on them. It just means that we no longer align anymore, and that's okay. You know, I still wish the best for those people. I still think about them often and send them love, but we're just in different stages of our life. We've just grown up and outgrew each other, and that's okay. We've gone in different directions in life, and that's okay. And I'm not saying it like it's such an easy thing, because it can definitely feel hard, when you noticed yourself drifting from somebody who has literally been your best friend your entire life. And honestly, friendship breakups hurt way worse than relationship breakups. But it is okay to let go of certain friendships if that means that you are doing what's best for you and you are then making space for people who align with you in this phase of your life. You know, those friendships served you in that period of your life, and now it no longer makes sense to have them in your life anymore, and that's okay. Be okay with letting things go. And with that comes being okay with being alone for a period of time, to focus on yourself and to figure out what your standards are for friendships and just for your life in general. I went a couple years of literally only having like 2 friends and I was okay with that. I spent so much time by myself, getting to know myself, getting to know what I truly valued in life, getting to know what I truly wanted for myself, and becoming who I am today. And then from that space, you can then ask yourself what you want from your friendships moving forward. And similar to how, you know, we set standards for our relationships, we also want to set standards for our friendships. So ask yourself, what do you want in your friendships in this phase of your life? So before I met my friends, when I was in that period of kind of being alone for a little bit, I knew that I wanted ambitious women in my life. Women who had big goals, big dreams, specifically women who were wanting to be entrepreneurs or who were already entrepreneurs, just because I wanted to immerse myself in that sort of mindset and lifestyle, because that's what I wanted for myself. And nobody that I was surrounding myself with at the time was doing anything like that. They weren't, you know, entrepreneurs. They were all kind of doing like 9-to-5s, going to college, like all of that, which is fine. But it's like I wanted something different. And so I wanted to surround myself with people who wanted similar things as me, so that I could then be inspired and learn from them and we could grow together. So in that phase of my life, I really wanted to make friends with women who were deep, who I could talk about manifestation and spirituality and our big dreams and goals and visions for our life. But at the same time, I also wanted women who I could just have fun with, I could party with. Like I wanted that duality. I didn't want like surface level friendships, but I also didn't want like this super deep friendships where all we did was meditate all day together. Like I am definitely both. And I believe that we can be both, because life doesn't need to be deep all the time. And so it helps to get clear on what you want from the friendships in your life in this specific phase of your life. You know, maybe you're a mom and you realize that you don't have any mom friends in your life, and you would love to have people in your life who share that experience with you so that you could talk and relate to one another. Or maybe you're like me and you want to make friends who are entrepreneurs and who have their own businesses or who want their own businesses, so that you can then talk to them and learn from them. But then also deeper than that, deeper than just what somebody wants from their life or what phase of life they're in, you also want to set your standards for the type of person that they are. Like I said before, you know, their morals, their values, their standards for their life. And then once you've gotten clear on all of that, you want to put yourself in situations to start attracting these like-minded people in your life. So if you watched my last video all about dating, then you know at the end of the video, I talked about if you want to attract a high value man into your life, you really want to focus on just living your life. Focus on yourself, focus on your passions, and you will then attract him into your life. And I would say that approach is very similar to attracting female friendships as well. You know, kind of going back to how I said that I really wanted to attract ambitious women. So what I did was I just focused on being an ambitious woman myself. You know, I focused on going after my dreams, going after my goals. And that's exactly how I attracted my friends into my life. So I met my friends 3 years ago when I first started my entrepreneurship journey. And I can go into a whole other video all about my entrepreneurship journey because it's been a journey, I'll tell you that. And so 3 years ago, I started posting on Instagram just about the things that I was passionate about. I started posting about manifestation, law of attraction, mindset, all of that stuff. And at the time I was following Manifestation Babe. I really looked up to her. I loved her content. And it's so crazy how this even happened. But I remember one time I was just reading through her comments on one of her posts, and there was somebody who commented something that was just very intentional. I really liked her response. So I went to her profile and I was like, ooh, I like this girl, I like her content, and I followed her. And then we just slowly started to like interact with each other. Like she followed me back, and then we would like comment on each other's stuffs, and then eventually we just started messaging each other. And from that, we would literally just send each other voice memos constantly. And I would say she was actually the very first friend that I made who really embodied all of the qualities that I wanted in a friend. You know, she was very ambitious. She had really big dreams and goals for herself, and we really aligned on that. And she also had really high standards for herself. And the more I talked to her and the more I got to know her, the more I realized how aligned we really were. And then from that friendship, she introduced me to somebody else. And then her and I started talking and getting to know each other. And then about 6 months later, the three of us just decided, hey, why don't we start like some type of group chat or some type of group where we could meet on a monthly basis to just talk about our goals and talk about our businesses and our big dreams and whatever we wanted to, because we were all kind of in similar boats. Like we were slowly drifting from the friends that we grew up with, and we wanted to make more aligned friendships. And we really valued the friendships that we had with one another. So we just wanted to create more of that. We wanted to kind of create like a little group of like-minded women. And that was when our group was born. So I think that was January of 2022 when we started a Snapchat group. We started an iMessage group chat. And I think it started out with like 10 or 12 girls, but slowly, you know, people started like leaving the group. They didn't really want to be as involved, which was fine. But the girls who did end up sticking around, we literally became absolute best friends. We would send each other Snapchats every single day, all day, just like talking about our goals, our dreams, our visions, talking about our lives together. And these were women that were all over the place, you know, like I was living in Florida at the time. One of the girls was in Canada, another was in San Diego, another was in Pittsburgh. So it was just so crazy, you know, like all of us being from different walks of life, yet sharing similar goals, similar dreams, similar values, and coming together as a group and sharing space with one another. So we started hopping on monthly Zoom calls. We started really doing intentional things every single month where we would hop on a call and one person would teach the rest something. Or if somebody was going through something, we would hop on a Zoom call and just like meditate with each other and kind of just hold space for one another. And it just became such a beautiful space for us to come to one another, to grow. And I think we ended up meeting up in person like 6 months later, the whole group. And that was also just so beautiful too. So I know I just went into way too much detail about my friends and how we met, but I just really wanted to share that story to just reiterate that it's really when you live your life and you start focusing on what you're passionate about and going after your dreams for life, that you then start to attract people who align with that. And one thing I want to say too is that if I didn't meet these girls, I don't even know if I would be here in San Diego right now, because it just so happened that 2 of the girls in the group also wanted to go to San Diego. You know, one of them, she already lived in San Diego, and another one, she was living in Virginia at the time, and she also wanted to be in San Diego. And now the 3 of us live here together in this beautiful apartment. Which is just so crazy that these were women that I didn't even know a couple years ago, and now I'm on the other side of the country living with them because the 3 of us shared the same dream of coming out to San Diego and living out our purpose. Okay, moving on to the next point. Know that it takes time to meet your people, and it takes you putting yourself out there to meet your people. I'm an introverted person. It takes me time to open up to people. It takes me time to build relationships with people. And so I really had to make the effort to put myself out there. And that's something I've been doing ever since moving to San Diego, because when I moved here, I really only had like 1 or 2 friends. But I knew that I wanted to make more in-person friends because, like I said, I had this beautiful group of women in my life, but we were kind of all over the place. So I started going to events here in San Diego. I started going to women's circles, networking events to meet like-minded women. And it also takes trial and error too. You know, like if you meet somebody and right away you don't hit it off, or it just doesn't work out, like that's okay. Okay, the next point that I want to make is that if you want to attract these high quality friendships in your life, you also need to be a good friend yourself. So just really being honest with yourself. Are you making an effort with your friends? Are you actually giving back to your friends instead of just always taking? Are you showing your support and being there for them? Are you respecting them and accepting them and loving them and seeing them? And also asking yourself if you have any toxic tendencies in friendships. You know, it takes a certain level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence to maintain these high value, high quality friendships. And that's something that me and my friends really learned with one another, which is the next point that I want to make, is to work on healing your friendship trauma or any wounds that you may have when it comes to friends. You know, especially as women, we all have experiences where we've been betrayed by our friends or friends have talked poorly about us. You know, I've definitely gone through so much of that, especially in high school. Like, girls can be mean and that can stay with us as we get older. It can stay with us in our 20s. And that's something that me and my friends really learned with one another. We really learned how to be vulnerable with one another, how to open up to each other, and how to communicate our needs and our boundaries and certain triggers that we had. We've really set this standard in our friendship of a level of openness with each other and this level of open communication that I have literally never experienced before. Because the truth is, we're human, things happen, things come up, especially in a group of women. Things will come up. And so maintaining that level of transparency with one another and respect and communication is what will allow you to maintain these friendships and to keep them being strong and nourishing. You know, if any of us ever feel triggered by something that somebody says, we bring it up to them in a respectful way. And I think that's a really big thing, especially when you're in a group with other women, is kind of like this underlying respect for each other, that one, we never gossip about each other. We never talk poorly about one another. If you have a problem with somebody, you speak to them directly. I've definitely been in groups of women when I was like in high school, and there was just a lot of cattiness, there was a lot of drama, a lot of gossiping. And so with my friends now, like, we don't have any of that at all. If any of us have anything that comes up for one another, like, we speak to that person directly because we just respect each other. We're all mature enough to have these difficult conversations with each other. And sometimes those conversations can be very difficult. Sometimes it does involve you putting your ego aside and saying, hey, like, I'm sorry that what I said hurt you in that way. Or, hey, I'm sorry that what I did made you feel that way. Like, that was not my intention at all. And just really reassuring each other and validating each other, I think, is really important in friendships. And like I said before, like, these friendships have really taught me so much in terms of communication, communicating my needs, communicating my boundaries and my standards. And I've learned so much from them. So if you have these types of friendships in your life, hold on to these friendships, pour into them, nourish them, nurture them, because they are a true blessing in your life. And even now that I'm in a relationship, I've also had to learn different lessons in terms of prioritizing my relationship, but also prioritizing my friendships, you know, and balancing both of them. And so there's different levels to it. You know, we're growing together. We're all learning even more about each other constantly. And it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. So if you don't have that in your life, then I just really want to tell you that it's possible for you to create this in your life. It's possible for you to attract these women into your life and to have this solid group of women who support you, who love you and accept you. And I hold so much compassion for you if you're really desiring that right now and you don't have that in your life, because I was there as well. But like I said, if you really focus on yourself, if you really get clear on your standards, on your boundaries for friendships, on what you truly desire from your friendships, and you make space for those people to enter your life, that is how you will attract them. So I think that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts, any questions that you have, anything that you want me to go in depth on. I love reading your guys' comments, so I appreciate every perspective as long as it's respectful. And next week, we're gonna be talking all about the mindset of a high value woman. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss that video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.